Everyone else set? Folks, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For on good voice tonight. It's good to have a crowd backing us up on the pledge. We feel like we're saying by ourselves. Yeah. Welcome to the November 25th meeting of the Town of Canandaigua Planning Board. We're going to follow the agenda except for one change at the beginning, but take care of that when we get to it. We have a lot of new faces here. Some are faces that I've seen in the past, but also a lot of new faces. So let me introduce the folks up front here. My far right is Kim Burkert. She's our remote access facilitator. Behind us is Kareem Hatch, who is our recording secretary. We have a full board tonight. Tim Schneider, board member. Art Tolbert, board member. Amanda Van Laken, board member. Bob LaCourse, board member. I'm Chuck Euler, board chairman. Kristen Smith, zoning officer. Eric Cooper, representing MRB. And Kristen Adler, who keeps us straight as our attorney. Let's see. Since we do have a crowd, and I assume some of you people are here to address the board, I would ask that when time comes for public comment on a particular issue that you're interested in, come to the podium, give us your name and address. Please limit your discussion or comments to about three minutes, if you would, and try to keep the repetition down. I don't want to hear the same thing from different people. So we certainly want to hear your comments and record them, but we also don't want to hear the same thing over and over. Privilege of the floor. Is anyone here that is here to address the board regarding an issue that is not in our agenda tonight, either here or out in Zoom land? Now would be the time to speak. Otherwise, it'll be issues on the agenda itself. So hearing none, I want to announce that we have a couple of public hearings tonight, both of which were advertised in the Daily Messenger on the 20th of November. So they've been duly advertised. All right, let's get right into the agenda, keep things moving. Item number one is CPN 2024-117, Nixon Peabody for a installation of a cell tower out on County Route 8 at 2061 County Route 8. I think we heard at our last meeting there was a possibility that the new owner and Verizon were going to come up with an agreement to place the tower in the proposed location 4 that we have been discussing. And apparently that agreement has been consummated. So we have tonight a letter from Mr. Lusk representing Verizon stating that he's willing to grant the board an extension to January 27th on the shot clock. And we can therefore continue the hearing to January 27th. With the anticipation, it'll be an application, a reapplication for location 4, which was again the more preferred location of the 4. So do I have a motion to effect?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we'll hear that on the 27th. I don't know if anybody was here to talk about the cell tower, but apparently they didn't have. All right, we're going to change the agenda a little bit, move up item number 5, which is CPN 2025-121 for 2050 Brickyard Road, a site plan for a single family home represented by Brennan Marks. And Brennan, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Chuck. Brennan Marks, Marks Engineering, representing Mr. and Mrs. McKenzie. Property on the west side of Brickyard Road, Looking, currently it's an agricultural property, has an agricultural building on it. They're looking to add their forever home to this property. And build on it. There you go. There's a site plan. There's existing driveway off of Brickyard. There is a wetland across the front of the property. We have coordinated that with the DEC. We have a jurisdictional determination and delineation of that wetland. The site will have its own septic system to serve the building, and there will be water service off the Brickyard Road for this building. So, pretty straightforward.
Okay. I noticed that you showed the NRI features involved on the property, and you did state that there were wetlands and a floodplain associated with the property. You're showing a driveway pull-off, I believe.
That's correct.
Required. Are all easements shown in to be recorded?
There is no easements.
There are no
required.
easements? Okay, I was thinking there was a water easement or something. No, you're not crossing. You're not crossing for access. Is your driveway? Oh, it's all on your property, okay.
Yep.
Yep, I was thinking it was, you were sharing the driveway with so far up. Cool. Board, I'll open it up to you. Anybody have any comments? I had comments.
I do not have any questions or comments.
Okay, it went through the ECB and
Yeah, I was just gonna bring that up as the ECB comments, but go ahead.
no, I was gonna ask Kim, but if you have them in front of you. Have it work.
And in general, they indicated that they felt they did a very good job with the project, so I think the homeowners for doing that. There's in the wetlands, it's just sensitive to those areas, so just to keep that in mind. And not drain that area. There's a request for geothermal heating as well. And native species comment that we always put in on this.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, it did go to the county planning board and it was deemed to be exempt from their review. And again, I read the ag. You the ag in front of you too, Mark?
No impact.
I don't think they had any issues.
No, there wasn't. It's no impact. Agriculture Advisory Committee recommends that this project does not constitute an impact on active farming.
Okay, thank you. You're in the Canandaigua Farmington Water District.
Ours right there. The new town.
You,
You can see.
right there. Jim Fletcher's only comment was about improving the driveway, the 30 feet into the right of way line. Do you show that on the plan? Okay.
You're talking maybe paving it to the right of way?
Yeah,
Okay, we can do that.
okay.
I know that's Jim's standard comment.
Yeah, because we're on the town road. It's his requirement. Code, I don't think had anything to add. How are you making out with your septic? Are you through DOH or?
No DOH review required. It's a standard in-ground system. No watershed requirement, so it's just gonna be straight with working with code officers.
Do you show site distance for the driveway?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
700 each way.
700?
Plus.
Thank you very much. All right, open it up to the audience. Anybody here or there want to address the board on this application on Brickyard Road? Hearing none, I guess we're ready to move on. Okay, it's a site plan. It involves a type 2 seeker. We can probably or definitely bundle it with the site plan. If somebody wants to give me that motion, I'll take it.
I'll make that motion, Chuck. For CPN 25-121 2050 Brickyard Road. Bundled site plan for the seeker type 2 and single stage type.
I'll second. Motion, second.
Conditions.
Further discussion.
Did we add a condition there about paving the driveway within the town right away?
We were going to.
Okay, so that may be 12 months.
Okay, got that? All right, with the amended condition, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you
Okay.
guys. I really appreciate that.
Off the rush. Rush off the rush. Okay, let's get back on the agenda. We have CPN 2025-069, Marcelo Bastisi. For property 3542 Sandy Beach Drive. Mr. Bastisi wants to put a addition on the back of his house down on Sandy Beach. And it has been the subject of discussions previously, and Anthony, what are you here to tell us?
We did do a change about a week ago. We didn't have enough time to discuss it at the last meeting. So really, the big change was to bring it in with the zoning requirements. So we meet the front setback and then we're holding that 10-foot south setback. So we're within zoning, we're reducing lot coverage and building coverage. There's a little outdoor kitchen that's gonna be removed. So the only thing that will be out there will be the extension of the house to stay within setbacks. Like I said, we're also at the same time, we're reducing lot coverage and building coverage. So we've sucked that in, listening to the planning board comments. And
So it's a 2-story 11 by 26 inch. Meeting the 30-foot setback from the lake and the 10-foot setback from the property. Board, you want to take the,
Yeah, and
Stormwater.
you know, one of them, the stormwater that we talked about last time.
we did talk about it, but I don't think we're required to with reducing everything, are we? For this project?
You're not required to, but
Right,
we're gonna start requesting all this mitigation before it gets into the lake. Right now, that house has 2 6s and a 4 going into the lake.
Mhm.
So there needs to be some kind of mitigation before, and the dry wellers. That's what I'm requesting.
you want me to put a dry well in for just the addition?
That addition, you said it was gonna tap into the other ones.
Correct,
So all that volume now is gonna be going straight to the lake,
correct.
right? So it would be advisable to put a dry well in.
I can take a look at that.
Please.
Mhm.
The other thing is shoreline guideline. There's no, do you have a landscaping plan?
There is a landscaping plan with shoreline guidelines that was attached.
I missed it, I'm sorry.
It's there.
yeah, it had
Yeah, Dan had,
a tree down the corner,
Dan
it
had
had
to-
shrubbery along the back of
Oh,
the
I
addition.
missed it.
Steps. Showed the evergreens on the property line to the south.
Okay.
Clarification, do you want that stormwater mitigation on both those two,
There's
one on each? Or somehow
And well,
combined?
well, we could tie it into a
needs to be
singularity if we
tied.
look at it.
because your garage also goes into the same system
Right.
sooner or later.
We can do something for the addition, but I mean, to do the whole
Well,
property.
you said you're gonna tie it into the current.
Well, we were gonna tie it into the current, but we could add a dry well in. the
Prior to
line
get
with
to
that,
the lake.
If we really.
That's what I'm asking.
We can't do that. We could take a look.
That's the only thing I'm on that.
And one of those lines is from a catch basin on the southeast side of the house that, takes whatever stormwater that it can and takes it and runs. So that's that one catch basin. that
The
you see.
4 or the
It's a
catch basin out there.
Yeah, on the southeast side of it.
Yeah. But there's a drainage on that side of the house.
Correct. It all gets, the roof,
In-
the roof drains do time that to try to get it, so it doesn't cause flooding issues and gets to the lake. road.
Yeah, that's gonna be. In the future, we're gonna have to start mitigating all that water that goes into the lake. Right.
No, I understand.
That's just so bad.
I think someone had asked that, did you locate the sewer lateral, where the lateral runs? I know you have the water line shown.
It runs off the east side of the house, but I can add it.
Okay,
I can get the as-built from the county.
please do, so we don't wind up hitting it.
But it doesn't run on the west side of the house, so we know it ties it on the east side.
Okay, you do that. Jim Fletcher just said you're gonna need a new water meter probably, maybe. Possibly.
We're not doing any changes in the water system.
Yeah.
We can discuss that with Jim.
Okay, Anybody else on the board? I'll open it up to the public. Anyone like to address the board regarding this application?
Thank you. Yeah, sorry.
Good evening,
Good evening again. My name is Chris Farrader.
Chris.
Good evening. I'm at 3546, property to the south. I just want to start by saying I think it's very important that I be at the meeting tonight. I hadn't planned on originally coming, but I just think it's important to be here in person to address the board personally. I recently sent a letter in dated November 19th. I'm not sure if you folks had a chance to
Yep.
review that.
Yep.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You know, sort of a consolidation of all the.
That was kind of the plan. I can keep this under 3 minutes, I promise. There were several violations, or whatever you want to call them, that don't meet code on the property. I haven't heard that addressed at all. I'm not sure if this is the right forum for that, but currently the deck is closer to us. There's a flagpole, there's a fence, there's a chimney bump out. As you all know, those kind of things can affect our property value. I did send some information in regarding the history of what we saw as water issues that either were rectified or not rectified. So hopefully you got a chance to look at that, whether they're right or wrong. I don't know, it's just what we observed. I know the whole issue of water mitigation is very important. Basically, all we're hoping for tonight is that this planning board can follow the lead of the zoning board and the environmental conservation board in denying this. Again, I want to thank you for your consideration and for all the time and effort you guys put in on these projects. Well, then I want to say just have a happy Thanksgiving.
Same
Under
to
3
you.
minutes.
Same to you. Thank you. And we did appreciate the correspondence you sent us, Chris. It was very helpful in us going through, especially the stormwater concerns, knowing what you had with that. A lot of the other items you had were all the existing issues. I know, well, the deck issue is gonna go away when the deck goes away. So, yeah. So, and the addition is all in conformance with the setbacks required under the RLD. So essentially it'll be curing what was in violation before.
Oh, we want the violations corrected because if they're, allowed to remain, I don't know what the process is to allow those violations to exist if this application is denied. I mean, that's our only concern is this, if we decide to sell our property, we got a flagpole away, and somebody says, well, I want to buy a property without a flagpole, without the deck within 7 feet of our property line. It could affect our future value.
But again, our issue is the chimney, the flagpole, the boat shelter, they're there. They're not part of this application.
No, they were pre-existing, this current owner put all those guys.
Yeah, but they, when this application came in to put an expansion on the back of the building, they were all there. These improvements were there.
Put in by this owner.
All right, Chuck, I'm gonna recommend that we stop with the back and forth,
Yeah, okay.
because you don't do that with other applicants.
So if there's a process I need to follow, just let me know. But I'm not sure what I need to do then. It's not gonna be.
I would say check with the staff.
Consultant, okay, I can do that, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else address the board on this? Okay, I think there's no further concerns of the board based on what we've heard. Let's move on. We have a type 2. What's that one? Type 2 seeker, is it?
Yes.
Yep, okay. With a site plan, why don't we, I'll make a motion that we consider the type 2 seeker, stating that from an environmental standpoint, there's no other review that's required by this board other than what we've done as part of the site plan review. So I'll make that motion. Somebody want to give me a second?
Awesome.
Okay, I'll take Bob's second. And all in favor? Aye. Okay, moving on to the site plan itself. We have 4 conditions currently. You added one regarding the stormwater mitigation, right, Eric?
Yes, site plans revised to include stormwater mitigation measures, prior to signature, and if there's another one, with the existing sewer line, which we show on the plans.
Just maybe expand that a little bit to say that stormwater mitigation as needed as a result of the addition.
So just related to the size of the improvements for the addition,
Well, I think that's
that they calculate.
what we were talking because of the addition being additional impervious in terms of it no longer being a deck with slats that allow the water to go through. It now is a roof. And being that the stormwater downspouts from that addition are going to that 4-inch line, I think it's the applicant's obligation to control the additional runoff. So, okay, does that sound good to the board?
Yep.
Okay, so we need a motion.
Chuck, I'll make that motion to approve your site plan or the site plan at 3542 Sandy Beach Drive, CPN 25069, single stage. With now, is it 5?
6 with the
6 with 6 conditions for approval.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Chuck, just, this is more of a statement than, just because we have seen a history of challenge with this property in the past. I would just really encourage the town employees, and I know they do an amazing job, but be extra diligent on paying attention to what happens with this project moving forward. We're in a situation now that there's so much that they're working fully within the rights of what they're allowed to do on the property. And that is a little bit of a challenge because I think it puts us at a hard point trying to talk about correcting many of the issues that have been there. And these are important topics. So we just really encourage, because we're limited to what we can influence here, really encourage the staff to be extra diligent. Thank them for doing things.
Well, thank you, and I'm sure they will. Mr. Murphy's here. He hears what you're saying, so I'm sure they take it in all earnest. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Let's go on to 2025-085. Christine Brown, this should be moved to the December 9th agenda. This is for her use of a bedroom and a bath in her home. It's 4575.
We did that.
We've done it.
Oh, you took it over?
Or we moved it.
Oh, okay.
As he said, it should be moved.
It got moved.
Like magic.
Okay. You didn't have a continuation? No, it was moved.
We
That's right.
continued it to the
Okay,
post Thanksgiving meeting. Because
okay.
the holiday week.
Staff is ahead of me.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the next one. You didn't move this one, did
No.
you? 2025 116, Bill Grover representing the Fosters out at 4066 Honolulu Drive. And up the back, Bill. All ears.
Hello, everybody. Bill Grove Engineering here with the Fosters. So it's a existing vacant lot on the west side of Onolinda Drive. The Fosters live immediately across the street from it. They want to build a new house on the vacant parcel. There's an existing like a grass laneway that accesses the upper lot. They intend to put the driveway in that open area, clear as few trees as possible to get the house and garage built in there. Geothermal is going to go up in the field on the back side of the house, the west side. There are some steep slope areas on the property, but mainly down next to the road, and the existing driveway, I think, is positioned so that steep slope area is really not a factor. certainly less impact to use the existing opening and not have to take trees down and try to in difference of, trying to balance out that steep slope area. So I think it's better to leave it steep and disturb less area, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. And you're gonna be on sewer and water,
Correct.
and you got a sewer line running right next to you.
Water's a little trickier because we have to come off of County Road
Yeah.
16. I saw the comments from Jim Fletcher about that.
And did you've established a easement for the water line going across the now current Foster property?
It's my understanding they wouldn't need an easement until they sold one or the other.
What we're doing. No, because we need one now,
That's what I'm thinking.
in case they sell it and don't do it, that's why.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got,
It's not a
had
problem.
that happen and it's a disaster for everyone.
We don't want
Sure, the
that.
Foster can get a
Existing
Foster's
water
easement.
Is this in an existing water district?
I believe it is, yeah.
Oh,
Because there's properties even further west of it that are sort of.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's probably not an issue, but we'll do an issue. Make sure.
Okay, so we'll get that easement on the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, Fletcher brought that up too. And the county sewer was okay with the lateral connection to that sewer line running parallel to the property
I
line?
assume so. There's that sewer easement extends all the way to the property line.
So you'll probably just have to go and get a permit. for
Yeah, we'll have
the
to
connection.
Provide a plan of that connection to the county sewer.
Eric, you just want to put that, oh, I think you have to approve the on carry. Okay, number 6. I see it. Okay. The code department had some concerns or issues or comments on the ENS measures that you provided. Did you see that?
Yeah, yep. So we ended up moving the silt fence up the hill further, which was one of the recommendations, and then added it showed 8 check dams in the most recent version, but I think it probably needs 3 or 4 of them in that lower section along the driveway.
Driveway.
Yeah. And then the other comment was about a maintenance agreement with the town for the rain garden.
Okay, again, anything that's built on Linda. I lose a little more hair every time I do this. It's just, I know Mrs. Foster's been very much involved in trying to keep the neighbors like herding cats, I guess, so to speak. But in this case, I guess the concern is obviously coming off that hill. Do you have adequate stormwater control? Because we know that further south and on Linda, there's some drainage problems caused by water coming off the hill, and it's just it'll be another development on the hill. Be it that you have the stormwater management facilities you're installing, which will help, obviously. But we just want to make sure that water doesn't come off that hill and go across on Linda and down to the Foster's current home, which is sits way down.
Mhm.
So can you assure us that won't happen?
Yes.
So on that, Bill, though, I was out there, that road, that grass road already has a culvert, which is clogged. Right? There is one there that's clogged,
The driveway?
the driveway.
Okay.
It's already clogged from the south side. It's open to the north. And if you follow that down to the end of the road where the garage is, where the water I think would flow,
Mhm.
there's another culvert on your property that's clogged. I think if any, there's that one point, there's another point where you your house drainage on a 4-inch going right to the driveway, which is heading right to that direction instead of going to your rain garden, which I couldn't understand why you're doing that. There has to be a really good plan on that side of that driveway to take the water away from the Foster's house, which is, I can see it just going right across the road.
Well, the footer drain is just a weep. There's not gonna be a steady stream of water coming out that. That's the one that goes to the driveway. We could redirect that to the rain garden, but typically the rain garden is only roof runoff. We could definitely direct it that to the.
To the rain
Maybe
garden.
not to the rain garden, but to the overflow of the rain garden.
Yeah.
So it's not impacting that, but it's still not a very high volume of water coming out there.
You definitely need to control the water in a ditch that I think you're gonna have to make that goes to the north. Cause it looks like the contours take all the water down to where those beehives are in that direction.
Mhm.
And then down and around the garage. That all has to be part of the plan,
Okay.
in my mind.
Where's the break in the road that the water starts flowing north?
I think it's past these houses a ways.
Okay. Is there anything else that's coming around the other way
Told me that,
and
but
coming down home?
yeah, I think it's like 3 more lots by that other house that we just
You guys know?
built too long ago.
Check who it is, but I know that in that area, the water does flow north. And the culverts there would have to be cleaned out.
Yeah, if not bigger. The driveway on that Airbnb house is all washed out. That goes to that barn. That's all kind of washed out now, kind of evidence of what's gonna happen on that hill anyways. So.
Hey, ask the
there's gonna be
Fosters,
trouble.
do you have problem with the water coming off that hill?
No.
It's the woods and it certainly helps deter it, but we're just concerned once you put some impervious,
Sure.
though Mr. Grove has provided stormwater mitigation, we just want to make sure as a result of this construction, you don't wind up with
No, we don't
Driveway
worry about
is.
it current house.
Okay, so you'll take care of that, Bill?
Yeah, no problem.
Martin, do you have ECB's comments in front of you?
Most of them have been addressed already, Chuck. It's on no tree removal beyond what has been indicated on the plans. Native species used for landscaping and exterior lighting be dark sky compliant or motion sensors. And kudos for Silver.
Okay,
Yeah, those pine
we're happy if
trees,
they're happy.
those pine trees are all pink planted in a row.
Mhm.
All like replanting, not natural.
Okay, there'll be another house on Linda's.
That roadway is the poster child of why there needs to be a roadway agreement.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Well, under the new code, anything more than 4 houses would be a public road.
It's pretty good.
All right, county. The county will not have to look. Oh, permit to run, county planning board, permit to run HTO under. Okay, yeah, you're gonna need a highway permit to cross.
Yeah.
I assume you're gonna bore under.
Mhm.
And we have that as a condition. And I didn't hear from Cheshire Fire. So I assume they can get back there, God forbid. It is in the city flu shed. Any issues the board has regarding it being being influenced by the flu shed or it influencing the flu shed? Nope.
No
Okay.
acre, over acre. Plenty
Uh,
of trees around.
I think the steep slopes have been handled appropriately and the house being up on the flattest area. You did ask for a waiver on the driveway, which I guess that's your one whereas here. Eric, it's 220 65L. Okay. So yes, just for the record, he's requesting a driveway slope of 17%, when 15% is the maximum. All right, anything else?
Yeah, Bill, that's gonna stay gravel, right? The driveway?
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, that'd be, if it was tar, that water would just wash down that differently, so
Mhm.
gravel would be what I would think of. Huh?
The stone will wash down.
Yeah, I know. Slows a little bit.
All right, yeah, the gravel's fine, being it's on a private street, it's not a requirement as far as if it's being paved. Okay, let's move on. Anybody in the audience want to address the board regarding this application on Linda? If not, we'll move on to type 2 and the proposed site plan resolution. Let's bundle it this time. I think we can get away with that. Come on, do that for me?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve CPN 25-116 4066 on the drive bundled with seeker. A single stage site plan resolution with well. Three additional ones if I've captured the comments probably. Condition 13, if the proposed property is not within the Canada Consolidated Water District, the applicant shall take all necessary steps to join the water district prior to permits being issued. Condition 14, the footer drain is to be relocated to direct drainage north of the proposed rain garden. Condition 15, the existing culverts on the subject property are to be cleaned out.
What was that one?
The existing driveway culverts on the subject property are to be cleaned out to ensure.
And can we say even a ditch made better?
Okay, so where's this just directly
From the driveway north to the other culvert, which is on the property. Which all needs to be drain out the north. Between the driveway and that other, where the beehives are down there.
This is on their current property or their?
On their property.
The current property or their new property?
The property on the west side of.
Oh, the new property, just on.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Cleaned and improved facility
Okay.
drainage.
Okay,
Sorry, Eric, was 13 the water easement? Or,
The water, it's about the water district. The water easement was existing condition
Oh.
11.
okay, thank you. Then I will second.
okay, got a motion and a second for discussion. Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Happy
Thank
Thanksgiving.
you, folks. Good luck.
Everything's getting better.
Alrighty, moving on to item number 6 from our agenda, CPN 2025-135. Mr. Venezia for Mobile Road, continued site plan, requesting a modification of a condition of approval previously, as well as a change of the site plan itself. Is that correct? Correct. Okay, what's happening between you and staff?
We went through, I did talk with Mike and then Jim, and we've gone through most of the comments and they're gonna be all addressed. The one change is we were gonna have a stabilized gravel surface and that will be designed to the town of Canandaigua requirements for the fire apparatus road.
How wide?
It's gonna be 20 feet on Mobile Road. It'll be 20 feet either side of the proposed hydrant relocation, according to code. And that will be shown on the.
Okay. It would have been helpful if we had a plan showing that. But
No, I understand.
the other thing I think was the question of when the dedication would occur, the total improvement in dedication. And Has that been resolved with the thought that that the agreement be that a building permit cannot be drawn down for lot 8 until the
Until Mobile
dedication,
Road is,
till the road's improved,
we can
dedicated.
do that.
Like, isn't that along the line of we were thinking, or you were thinking?
Fully Jim's discretion.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I've got,
okay,
my comments with Anthony have been addressed as far as verbally, that he's working, involving those.
I think Jim was primarily, he didn't want to dedicate it now.
No, he does not
Okay.
want it.
And then it was just a matter of figuring out how we're gonna get the improvements in, but still have some sort of control.
What do we do? Conditions that the highway superintendent has to sign plans and be satisfied with the status of dedication prior to 7 and 8. Building, building
Eight.
permits being issued.
Well, I think 7 they want now.
There is no dedication at this point, is what we're saying.
Okay, just 8, then,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's true, but. I don't think Jim's gonna need it before 8 either, but
No,
I don't know that. So let's just, and I think we are all agreed that that's Jim's decision, whether he wants to take dedication on this road or not. Yes?
Yeah, no, I,
Let's just make it a condition that highway superintendent will determine. And whether or not he wants the road dedicated prior to 8. It's fine with you,
Yeah.
you're confident he doesn't need it.
I mean,
That's what's
he's,
best, because that gives Jim the discretion.
he has said
well,
that.
to put 7 in there, you're gonna do this improvement that we talked about with the crushed stone and the 20-foot wide.
Yeah,
That's all gonna be as part of
Access.
this.
Okay, so then when you come in for 8, then. So required by Jim, you would have to do the full improvements of Mobile Road and the dedication.
Okay.
Okay? Will we memorialize that somehow?
prior to building permit being issued.
Correct. For lot 8.
So I apologize, this all came in late today and a chance to draft a resolution for. I can read you the conditions that I have.
From the original ones.
Yeah, essentially, most of them is with other changes. That's how you want to.
Yeah.
Move forward with this.
Yeah, this was on the agenda.
How's the board feel?
That-
Yeah, they've since
Ready
made
to
a
move
draft
forward with
resolution
it.
because they didn't have materials or anything before, so it's just a continuation. of that.
Anthony will be responsible for, who'll be handling the maintenance of.
The owner. Then there's gonna be a storm, there's gonna be a snow, Jim did want a snow little note of what's gonna be done and how it's gonna be maintained, so.
Okay. And then Hammerhead meets his specifications as far as.
It's
size
the
and
right
size,
size.
according to our standard.
Yep, it's the right size for a turnaround.
You have full, no resolution.
Okay, anybody in the audience? Want to address the board regarding the Mobile Road?
Okay. Read the,
Maybe that's a road we will get improvements in your future. If not. You guys ready? Ready to move on? All right, so we're amending the condition regarding the dedication from the original approval. And we're amending the site plan
Mhm.
to,
It was remove remove that other driveway, the eyebrow
You've
driveway,
actually-
and it's gonna be
Move
that
Mobile
continuation of mobile.
so they actually front on both.
Correct.
can I just ask, this board granted this approval already?
Conditional,
They give you conditional approval and you just want conditions amended?
that was what we were doing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Yep.
it's not.
Yeah, we were
Oh,
amending
sorry.
Yeah,
one
it-
condition and then an
Just an
adjustment.
amendment of the condition.
Sorry, can you read the proposed amended conditions and then somebody's gonna say so.
So condition 1, standard condition,
No, but it's the 2 that you want to change.
oh, I don't have those ones known.
Oh,
I'll make it quick.
Don't
Don't worry, Chris. Standard condition about the 180 expiration, standard condition about soil erosion surety estimate. Comments of the town code enforcement officer to be addressed, comments of the town highway superintendent to be addressed. Comments of the County of Farmington Water and Sewer District to be addressed. Easements and boundary depiction descriptions submitted to the town attorney and town engineer for review and approval of prior signatures. Payment via Lewis Parkland. Site plans revised to provide a right of way easement to the town of Canandaigua. easement to be reviewed, approved, and accepted by the town.
Can I ask a question? Do we need to do that right away since we're not dedicating it this time? And is there a reason for the town to have it right away? It seems like it might be a little more messy if they do.
You're not doing a dedicated road, don't need them.
That was only for the dedicated road.
Access to.
I think the intent was to have a 60-foot easement.
It was when it was gonna be dedicated, but there's no dedication, so the town does not need that right away at this time.
So at the point where there is.
Take ROW out, just say easement. We don't actually need it right away at this.
No, you don't need a right away.
It's gonna be
It's gonna be pretty much the same thing.
It'd be a cross easement for all this property.
What would be the easement that the town of Canada will require?
Sorry, folks, you're seeing sausage being made here.
Jim gets to demand it. Means he can get it at
Comments on it?
number 8 anyway. So I think that's what we want. We don't want.
Anthony, while they're figuring that out, is there still an intent to actually develop that last thought? You need the.
As part of that longer process, at this time, I mean, the goal here is there's somebody there is that unit that's out front of
Yeah,
Stella's.
we're
We're trying to
do
get that there
last-
for that person.
Yeah,
The next lot will be
Prior
more of
to
when the
new
other property is in
prior to
development phase, you're gonna start
building
seeing that here at the first of the year coming through.
Issued for
Right, or redesigned.
Are we going to see this insurance again? Because it sounds like.
The town has already seen it to be updated, so
I just want to make sure.
Nope, that's the
We're doing
plan.
it, we're
that's the
we're
plan.
speaking.
It's a good way to sell modular homes.
No, I understand.
On 332, right? Hey, you wanna buy a home? Then here it is. Folks, this is the units out in front of Stella's, you know, that modular home that's been sitting there. That's gonna move
Should
back.
be going by tomorrow afternoon, right?
Some conditions though, so.
Get things, pick it up and move it.
Not those drawings.
All right, are we good to go?
No, they're all drawn, that's all.
Lots off on the payment fee of Parkland, condition 8. Standard note about lawn PC established. Condition 9, highway superintendent should be consulted and all comments from the highway superintendent addressed to the satisfaction of the highway superintendent. Condition 10, the highway superintendent shall sign off on the plans and the highway superintendent will determine whether the road shall be dedicated prior to the building permit being issued for lot 8. Those 10 conditions.
Improved and dedicated. The road should be improved and dedicated. Yeah. All right, sounds good to the team.
You're looking for a motion for a modification to an existing approval of.
Amended.
An amended
Amendment to it.
approval, an amendment to an existing approval for CPN 25-135 with those 10 conditions that were just read back. So I'll make that.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
they'll be going tomorrow. That's great. All righty. Okay, now we get into some of the fun things. Number 7 is a preliminary overall subdivision, CPN 2025-125. For property off of County Route 16. I think it's being referred to as Ashton Place South, this project. And EME is the engineer representing the Venezias and Warners. And I think what we want to do this evening is, first of all, this property has been the subject of many reviews. I think the planning board looked at this in sketch plan 6 times, I counted, in various variations and degrees of design. And the latest was back in June, we had a meeting to discuss a sketch plan submitted by DME and the applicant. And we made some comments on the sketch plan as some of the things we liked and some of the things we didn't like. And so you went back to the drawing board and you produced a formal application, which is in front of us. So tonight we'll hear presentation, Brian, by you on the application itself. A lot of the residents have not heard the formal presentation on this. And then we'll, we have some neighbors here that have come out to address the board, and we'll hear from them. And I think you realize that we sort of feel that this should go through a full secret review. Being the environmental issues involved in so many aspects of it. And we will, if we so inclined, declare our intent to be the lead agency. So that being said, why don't you take the lead and tell us about the project?
Good evening, I'm Ryan Destro from BME Associates. Here with me tonight representing the applicant Venezia Associates is Anthony Venezia. We are seeking preliminary overall subdivision approval and also next on the agenda, final phase 1 subdivision approval for the Ashton Place South development. The subject property totals 44.1 acres in size. It's located in the town of Canandaigua's Southern Corridor Residential SCR1 zoning district, and also the Scenic Viewshed SVO overlay district per NRI map 11, which is the lands visible from Canandaigua Lake. The subject property is located on the west side of Westlake Road, which is County Road 16, and to the to the south of Ashton Place and Bedford Drive. This proposal is for a conservation subdivision pursuant to section 278 of the cluster subdivisions of the New York State Town Law, and per section 174-16, the cluster subdivision section of the town code. This proposal is for the development of 38 single-family homes on lots with a minimum lot area of 20,000 square feet. The project will be split into 3 construction phases, and phase 1 will include the first 10 lots off of Ashton Place at the northeastern end of the project. Per the town's cluster subdivision guidelines, this proposal protects over 40% of the area of the parent parcel within permanent conservation easements. Since we last appeared before the planning board on June 25th, 4 lots have been removed from the previous sketch plan application. They're primarily located in the southwestern corner of the loop road, as you can see on the screen. On October 21st, the ZBA granted an area variance to allow a reduction of the minimum lot area in the Scenic Viewshed Overlay District from 1 acre or 43,560 square feet to 20,000 square feet. Access to the property and the development will be via an extension of the existing Ashton Place stub into the property. No new curb cuts are proposed on a County Road 16, and the extension of Ashton Place will be offered in dedication to the town of Canandaigua. Some additional site amenities include a concrete sidewalk, which is proposed along one side of the entire length of the proposed extension of Ashton Place into the development, a street tree on each lot, and then also a street light where the Ashton Place road loops back into itself at the crosswalk location. This is for safety purposes. The utilities serving this development, public water is available by the city of Canandaigua off of Ashton Place to the north, as well as public sanitary sewer via Ontario County. That's also located just to the north on Ashton Place. Stormwater management will be provided on site per the New York State DEC and town stormwater guidelines. I'd like to go through some of the goals of the town code for the cluster subdivision section 174-16. The first being achieve a balance between well-designed development, meaningful open space conservation, and natural resource protection in the town of Canandaigua by requiring conservation subdivisions instead of conventional subdivisions. 2, allow for residential development on lots that are smaller than would otherwise be permitted in the applicable zoning district in exchange for protection of conservation assets identified in the town's inventory. The third goal, encourage the placement of lots and design of streets in a manner that results in a more efficient provision of infrastructure and delivery of public services, and that supports a walkable and socially cohesive community. The fourth goal I'd like to mention, maintain and preserve the natural, agricultural, scenic, and cultural assets identified in the town's natural resource inventory. And finally, advance the goals of the town's comprehensive plan. This proposal meets all of those town goals that I just went over. A conservation subdivision analysis has been included with the overall preliminary subdivision application materials. We also did provide conventional plan exhibits, which show that by complying with the town code requirement for the underlying SCR1 and SVO districts, the parent parcel as developed with 1 acre lots would not include any open space areas in permanent conservation easements, and the individual lot owners, in theory, could remove virtually all the trees and the existing vegetation on their lots. We presented this application to the Ontario County Planning Board on November 12th. They were in favor of the proposed cluster subdivision development, and they did acknowledge that it has little potential to cause intermunicipal or countywide impacts. We also appeared before the Canandaigua ECB on Environmental Conservation Board on November 6th, as well as the Canandaigua Agricultural Committee on November 13th. We've received plan review comments from town staff, the town engineer MRB group, as well as the Canandaigua Lake Watershed Association. We do not see any major issues in addressing them. In summary, the town code and the town comprehensive plan recommend single-family subdivisions to be developed via a cluster subdivision approach and with smaller lot sizes. And this is to protect the town's natural resources and reduce the development footprint. And this is exactly what this proposal does. Now, we understand that the next step for this proposal is a 30-day coordinated review. Given that, we ask that the board declare your intent to be lead agency and submit for the coordinated review to start the 30-day clock and also set the public hearing. Tonight, we are seeking the planning board input, and we will then address the comments from the board, town staff, and the agencies, and we'll look to resubmit updated plans shortly to advance the review on this project. So with that being said, I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay. Open it up to the board initially. Any questions? Ryan, you mentioned that it's going to be serviced by public sewer and water. I think you mentioned in your document that it is not in the districts currently, right?
Correct.
And what are you doing to have it included in the district?
So we will be preparing district extension applications to the town board for that effect for both water and sewer.
When does that typically occur, Chris? In relation to the subdivision itself, does it prior to any approvals?
No,
As a condition?
it's a condition of subdivision approvals that dedications take place per direction of the town highway and water superintendent. I think Eric Calvin should word that. Or at the timing.
So it's not like you have to come in when you have your application, you have to be in the district. That's not the case. It's
Yeah, they're definitely conditioned on them.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
just
a 9-month process to get that water district extended. Very different district.
okay.
So we'll have to do that after we make it a condition.
Most conditions are 180 days.
Well, probably come in for, maybe they can get it done super fast and maybe they can, it has for an extension.
Okay. But you know you gotta do that. So the ZBA did reduce the lot size from the 1 acre required under the scenic view shed to 20,000 square feet. They did not address any of the setbacks. So are we looking at the setbacks that would apply to the SCR1?
Yes. That's correct.
But I think your setbacks are
Yes, because we are applying for clustering provisions, so the town board or the planning board has the ability to adjust the setback requirements because we're reducing the lot size.
okay, that was my next question. Is that under our purview?
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
planning board function on for conservation subdivisions. If they've asked for it, or it's implied.
Okay. So board, we're looking at a 20,000 square foot minimum lot and setbacks that are listed on the The plan that have the property. So that's confirmed. So on the SCR one. And. Talked about the setbacks. The conservation analysis, Kristen and Eric looked at it to make sure it was done in compliance with our regulations, and you found it to be in good order.
There's a couple things I noted in our letter that maybe the planning board consider requesting more information on, but it's up to the board and see like it's black and white.
You have MRBs?
Yes, we received their comments at the end of last week. EME is very proactive in working with the town engineers, and we'll reach out to MRB and as we address their
That could
comments.
be
Yep.
one of the things that you'll be working on.
Yep.
Between now and.
So if there was one, they're submitting that formal request for the 2 waivers, I think.
The waivers being.
The requirement to preserve 40% of class 3 lands and offering from an abutting residence. That was what they noted at the end of the conservation analysis.
Can you state the waivers requested louder, please?
Yeah, if you give me 1 second, I'm just gonna pull up the conservation analysis.
I know in previous sketches, and I'm sure many of the folks here this evening were at those meetings. We were attempting to get as much of a natural buffer between the back of the existing homes and the homes on Bedford. I see you up there, the first lot to the west coming off of the stub. There used to be lots in there, and it butted right up against that house. So I see you've opened that up. Then you've got the triangle. You get toward the back end of Bedford. You've got those 2 houses sort of back up on the new homes as proposed. I think that's a pretty heavy tree area there. It is, if I recall. So hopefully there'd be enough room to allow for the buffer area or the tree area to remain. In your rendition here, the olive green, what's that representing?
Lawn or natural, so outside of lots would be natural grass.
Okay.
Turning back to the waivers.
Yep.
From the conservation analysis. Bottom of page 4, there's a preserved land analysis. Number 3, class 3 lands, it says there's 36% proposed in be preserved in conservation easements, 40% is required by the code. That's the plan board waived the 40% requirement. And then on the following page, in conservation buffers, number 4, budding and existing residents, 28 feet in conservation easement provided, which is less than 40 feet. And then requesting a waiver from the planning board for reduction in buffer area.
From what to what?
It is. It's
97.
I think it had to be.
Just that.
Okay, and that's the area I was talking about. The back of those 2 homes on the south side of it. Okay. And the other thing, it was common, I'm sure you've read throughout all the reviews, whether it's ECB or the county, and the Watershed Association, and soon the council, was to have it a contiguous open space as much as possible, rather than having it segregated into 3 separate open spaces. Don't know if that's possible. I do offer as a suggestion. I was never crazy about the island in the middle of that's from from PRC on, I think, Brian, I've expressed my concerns about that. It just, it's not, I don't think it's good planning. It's not a good marketing. I don't think the lots are marketable. So I would, and one of the renditions that was done back in, this was back in 2018, was a plan that was similar, except it ended with a conventional cul-de-sac. And why we just don't, and these were like 22, 23, 24,000, 27,000 square foot lots, 32,000 square foot lots. So if we're working with a 20,000 square foot minimum, I would think that maybe you could look at the possibility of getting the same number of lots, but doing it in a more conventional style with a cul-de-sac.
Well, to address the segmentation of the conservation easement areas, first of all, they're not, you can't look at them as islands specifically on this property. They're continuations of the wooded areas to the south, to the north, to the west, to the east. This development, it's a unique property shape. It's a longer rectangular shape. So we're balancing a multitude of factors. We're following the contours of the slope as best as possible, trying to balance earthwork where we set the road. So we have houses on the high side where we're cutting into the slope. We have houses on the low side where we're filling a little bit, trying to balance that out. But what this does, which that previous plan does not, is it offers permanent conservation easement areas, substantial wooded areas on all four sides of the development, not just the west or the north. So the triangle piece of wooded area on the south is a continuation of the wooded space, the wildlife corridor to the south. So it's an extension of that as well. It's not just a little piece or a 4 or 5, 6 acre piece on this parcel. It's a continuation of the areas to the south, to the west, and to the north as well. We're trying to balance everything where we're providing conservation easement areas on all sides of this development rather than just one or two.
Mm-hmm. I think in terms of addressing the NRI features and the constrained lands, I think you've maybe pushed a little further west than I think into that steeper slope than maybe the ideal, but I think for the most part you addressed it. Obviously another issue, and I think the reason some of the neighbors are here, and I see Mr. Mulvaney here, is stormwater management is a big concern. Folks on Bedford and Ashford have been subject to a lot of flooding. I'm certainly well aware of that. When I was in my capacity as the Drainage Advisory Committee chairperson, that was one of the hot areas that we were looking at. And
Now, I'm just curious, why is there no buffer on the south side of the southernmost lots? Yeah, there's two.
There's no buffer required where it's not next to a residential development in the conservation easement code.
Okay, but you do show that on those other lots that are not adjacent to the residential. Well,
It's a continuation of the buffer that is adjacent to the Bedford Manor homes to the west, to the north.
So they could probably extend those lots all the way to the property line to the north after Bedford Manor, but they chose to do it this way.
Correct. The goal is to preserve as much of the natural existing vegetation as possible on this property.
Right, to answer a couple questions, just really quick. Lot, I think it's 8. I came off it. Could that move down by that bottom left-hand side?
Lot 8 is.
Yeah,
the
lot
one
8 is-
Directly on the south.
Lot 8,
Here, Bob?
yeah, right in there, if you push those houses to the right, lot 8 is really the one that backs up to another house. It is.
You're talking about sliding it to the west, to the left.
If you take 8 out, okay, so then the Pease resident right behind it would have a bigger buffer, and then 8 could move down next to 17. And 17 and 18.
Lot 8 open space.
Yeah, leave 8 in open space, and then 17 and 18 move to the right and put whatever you want to renumber it, right next to the 3 houses. And then there'd be a bigger buffer there. I'm still interested to hear also about the water mitigation problem, or situation you want to work on.
Yeah, that's what I was saying when I was
Yeah.
interrupted.
Yeah.
I thought he had his hand up, but he had to go. You okay? Okay. Yeah, stormwater mitigation is a big issue, knowing the past history of what's occurred down there. I know the folks along Westlake, they have a stream in the back, which has been subject to flooding. We certainly don't want to make it any worse, and hopefully make it better with this project. So again, forewarned to be forearmed.
That's why we have MRB group to look over our design too. On every project, stormwater management is the most important task of a civil engineer.
Well, being that that's the subject right now, Kevin, can we call on you maybe at this point? Kevin Mulvaney from the Watershed Council is here. It's good enough to be present tonight, and he's so interested about this project. He made a personal visit, and we certainly appreciate your coming. Tell us a little bit about your concerns.
So there's a long history of issues all around this development or this land area. And it's not being caused by this land area, right? It's part of a larger system. So, but we've got issues along Westlake Road in those backyard areas. Ashton Place, there's issues just upstream of where this development will be discharging into. We've got issues at near the yacht club area where that triangle piece, the southern middle part of that parcel, that drains south and ultimately goes to Fox Ridge Pond, the northernmost pond of Fox Ridge, and then ultimately goes down to Westlake Road there. And there's been issues there over the years. There's been issues where there's too much water hitting the roadside ditch of County Road 16, bypassing cross culverts that go to the lake, and then flooding people's homes. So we have issues all over the place on this. And what we're trying to look at is there some proactive solutions in partnership to try to mitigate some of those issues. The thing that we're realizing, I think more and more, at least when I'm out and about during these storms, I feel like from an engineering perspective, we got to get away from the analysis of the 24-hour storm. I really think we need to look at the 1 hour, the 2 hour storm that we're dumping 2, 3, 4 inches of rain that's becoming more and more the normal. And having the engineers really analyze that type of storm event that can really produce a lot of runoff very quickly. And it's, we understand what the code is. Like the code is 90% of pre-development peak flow rates, and that's great. And maybe we could need to look at that even more proactively. But what I'm proposing in some of this is to take a deeper dive and look at the drainage areas and look at where can we come up with further reductions to peak flow rates than what's required in the code.
So we don't want to make it any worse. We just hopefully will make it better, right? Is there something specific from a regional standpoint that could be done on this property that would help get to that?
Yeah, so one of the if I can go up to the board, if
Sure.
that's all right. That's I'll pass it back over to you, Ryan. So there's an opportunity area. So the existing flow rates or flow paths, there's about 17 acres of this area right now that actually flows south. The development is cutting off a lot of that, and it's going to go down to about 4 acres of this area is going to be draining south at analysis point B. So this area is now going to go to this pond down in here. What I was looking at is saying, okay, we do have an opportunity area in here, there is a low flat spot, and that vegetation looks really nice, but it is probably a lot of buckthorn and early secondary type growth in there. And it's pretty flat. Of using that area as an additional storage area, to enhance, to get us a much higher, storage potential coming off of this landscape. And that's built for those extreme storms. Really looking at that aspect and saying, okay, the 24-hour storm, yeah, this pond can, theoretically, based on the engineering analysis, can handle that back to slightly lower than what occurs right now. But I've seen so many emergency spillways kick in on development sites during these big events that's what we really need to start thinking about and be proactive at this point and maybe change the regs ultimately to try to better handle those.
So what you're saying is a portion of that drainage area to the west that is currently going south will be conveyed through pipes to the basin. That basin then outfalls into the stream we've been talking about.
Correct. Yeah.
Goes under Westlake Road, the two twin 24s.
36. The county shows it as 36. Yeah.
Which, and then runs down through that.
Yeah, but there's 240 acres of drainage area that's coming through those, so they're undersized.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then we have, there's two houses down at the bottom that did have some flooding previously. The old version of what was down there, there was a house that was built over the stream system. We did meet with both those landowners that are down by closer to the lake, and they're gonna expand that channel system. There's a culvert there that's undersized. So we're gonna work with them on a permit application to get that enhanced as well. But really, and this is a macro level. Jim Fletcher, who I don't think he's on tonight, but he and I spoke a lot about this site, but many sites across the watershed, and saying, okay, where can we build resilience? And this became an opportunity. It sounds crazy, a development becomes an opportunity area to actually try to get enhancements, to try to reduce heat rates of flow from what occurs now. And that's what we're looking at, is take a deeper dive with the engineers and see if that's possible here to try to get some mitigation. I would say maybe there's some things upstream. We can look at also, one of the things would be to look at the Ferris Hills existing pond. That could be another opportunity here and say, okay, can we do something there proactively to enhance that one as well? And that's, but we're looking at this existing development right now and saying, okay, what can we do since the land's going to get disturbed? We're going to have this impact. Is there a way to get a mitigation point out of it?
Hey, Kevin, you make up a good point. I'm sorry. We talked to Ferris about their one development they had not too long ago about their pond is overgrown. And how come they're not managing that to the point where it's getting cleaned out?
So I know the code, part of the MS4 program is that they had to go out and have an engineer inspect that facility to see if it's working properly. I think it would be wise to do a deeper dive on that one also. And can we enhance it? There is a 24-inch pipe that comes out of that stormwater outfall right now that then hits, it's a 3x4 swash culvert that crosses Bedford Irrigation Place right through there. And that's undersized. That drainage area is large and, it spans to the west side of Middle Chester Road. Takes in, a decent amount of development, steeper slope type, not development, but steeper slope type land areas coming down through there. So again, you get we had those storms in June 24. Sometimes those storms where you put 3 inches, in 1 to 2 hours on these areas, and it's just happening more and more frequently. We have to adapt to it. So this is one of those areas saying, okay, maybe the code says one thing. Is there a partnership here with the developer, with the engineer, to try to build a better system to mitigate this area?
One other localized area is the end of the Bedford Bubble cul-de-sac.
Yeah. Coming
Coming off the Pity property. I know the residents that are here remember the storm, I guess, back in 17, when it was a river going down Bedford, and it was all coming off the property north.
Oh yeah, you get the right soil moisture conditions, it's almost like impervious cover, right? So you're gonna get those, and maybe there's not enough room in between here. Maybe our drainage system isn't big enough.
I think that's what we found.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you said you were willing to meet with BME and staff. on site to talk about potential options for these programs, okay? Back in the barrel. Sewer district we talked about. We're gonna get to you. The guests in a second here. Just want to go through my checklist. Air control. 3 HOA, sewer district we talked about.
While Chuck's going through that, I saw the comments that came on the storm drainage, and we're gonna be evaluating for up to the 100-year storm. And then you're gonna be channeling the 100-year storm flow through the stormwater management facility, correct?
Correct.
So I think that the DEC code has you designing infrastructure for the 10-year storm? Your pipe systems, what are you gonna be designing your pipe?
Stormwater pipes are designed for a 10-year storm, but part of the DEC regulations for stormwater management is to have an overland flow path to the stormwater management facility for the 100-year rain event.
Okay, so that'll all be part of your hydrologic analysis.
Yes, it is.
So
Our design, we're following all applicable DEC and town standards at the time of this application.
will the roadway be considered a conduit for that water?
In an extreme rain event, yes, it could be, yes.
Have you looked at this at your last meeting? Mark, I'll ask you if you haven't. You could pull up their comments, anything.
Yeah, there were several.
Yeah, there was quite a bit. And maybe, Ryan, you haven't seen these because I think they just got published the last day or two, so certainly recommend you go in the cloud and.
I've seen them.
You seen them?
Yep.
Quicker than I am. Okay, for the good, for the public, Mark, if you could describe some of the highlights.
Yeah, just certainly the number one concerns get into the clearance of the property and what happens with the trees that are there now. Gets into the water concerns as well. Ties into the fact that we get into the high end of the property. So as we're looking at the screen now, it would be the westerly or the left side of the screen, and suggests the elimination of the lots in that section of the property to help maintain steep slopes and also anything that would impact unforeseen future. It's into native species as well. Did I miss anything else there, Kim?
The fragmentation of the preserved areas.
Yeah, breaking up those areas.
Segmentation, yeah.
There's a way to condense those properly.
And the issues brought up by the Canandaigua Lake Watershed Association in their letter dated October 12th.
Right. Yes.
Some questions about HOA, which really wasn't fully running.
It would be an HOA with a stormwater maintenance agreement for the basins, right?
Correct.
In the concern areas.
Yes.
Also, in the removal of trees, not to remove dead ash trees that don't present a hazard to human habitation. One thing that was unclear from Kim was talk through the ZBA granting a variance in scale. But when that was written up, it talks about 20,000 to 20,000. Can you refer to that meeting? You clarify a little bit more of what I'm concerned about there.
Yeah, since they have 20,000 minimum, some of the lots could be shrunk. Some
smaller than that.
Correct.
Make all of the lots exactly 20,000. Is that essentially what you're saying?
More or less, yes.
Instead of some 22s and 26s.
Yeah, so that will occur, especially on curves. You'll have a pie-shaped lot. And if you cut, let's see the one in the northwestern corner, if you were to reduce that down to 20,000 square feet, then the rear lot line would be much closer to the house. It really only happens in the units around the curve, the houses around the curve. All the ones on the straightaways are pretty much 20,000 square feet. So we do try and balance that. We're not trying to make them larger, but we're also trying to equalize the rear yards. Yep.
Just for clarification, their recommendation was that lot 15 and 16 be eliminated because of steep slopes.
Yeah, we provided the exhibits in our conservation analysis that those lots are outside of the conservation or outside of the steep slope areas.
Is that why, I'm just looking at the topo, is that why that between 4 and 5 is left empty? Is that a steep slope?
It's not technically a steep slope for the town regs, but just that's an area where the road is climbing 6 or 8%. And around that pie-shaped lot, a lot of the contours get pinched off. So it was a lot that was prudent to be eliminated just because of the grading implications for that pie-shaped lot on the curve on a steeper slope of the road, but not technically a steep slope area for the code.
Your
lots 15 and 16, if you look at like the cleared mode area, that does actually get farther into the steep slope. So it's not just the parcel, it's a disturbed area.
Yep.
That's something that obviously I think it will be addressed, but when we get into further discussions on this of looking at limits of disturbance. So we be very clear on this property, what the exact limits of disturbance will be respected.
Very much, yeah.
Ryan, there was one part of your, I guess, narrative that stated the downspouts would discharge in the splash blocks, but then I see you're showing drainage laterals for each house in the storm sewer.
So rear yards would discharge the splash blocks.
Okay.
Especially on the homes that are walkout levels too, so they're lower. They would discharge the splash blocks, like the ones along the lower side of the curve next to the pond would discharge the splash blocks and be conveyed to the pond by overland flow and swales.
Okay, but the front of the homes will come out to the street.
Correct. And that's a preference of town of Canandaigua and most municipalities to avoid drainage issues in the front yards of homes.
Yeah, no, if you have access to a storm sewer, yeah. Put it underground. Getting back to that, the creek that runs parallel to Westlake. I just trying to figure out some way that this project can help improve the condition out there. I know a lot of debris falls in them and there's some cleaning out has to be done. And I guess part of the stream is on your property and then it meanders off and then it comes back on. Is that stream subject to any type of easement? I assume it's not.
I don't believe there's an easement technically over it, but it's a Class C stream. So if you were to do excavation in it, you would need a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers.
Kind of setback.
But loose debris could be pulled out. Just to get back to that point, and Kevin kind of hinted at that as well. The majority of the drainage to that stream is really from the north, even north of Bedford Drive in that area. What this development can do is, from the middle 2/3 over from the right hand side or the eastern side, sheet flow towards that stream naturally because of the existing contours of the topography of the project site. So the road network, the storm sewer system is going to collect that, convey it to the detention basin, and release it at controlled rates that are lower than pre-development conditions, so. It will be doing, it will be providing some, drainage mitigation just by fact that we're collecting that water that would naturally go to that stream and releasing it at that controlled rate.
All right, board, can we move on to our guest entertaining?
Would you mind, I just have a couple questions?
Sure.
You've got easement number 3. Why is that different from easement number 2? Talked about contiguousness.
Is that by the pond and the stream?
Yeah, that's the one closest to Westlake Road.
Yeah, so.
Looks like there's a lot line, an existing lot line there.
It was differentiated to show because of the way the code is broken out for the class of lands. That's a class 1. The stream is a class 1 land feature.
Okay.
So we're showing the 100-foot buffer being encapsulated in that easement.
Understood. And then all 3, I'm assuming you're planning on dedicating or enacting the easement all at once, or were you planning on phasing the conservation easements?
Ultimately, the conservation easements, I would assume that they would be phased with the development. So we would break them out individually for each phase, and then you would have phase 1, the associated conservation easements within the limits of phase 1, and then you would have the remaining lands of the parcel, and then you would go to the next phase, and we would extend them. But for the
So conservation easement 2, part of it would be dedicated.
Correct. For the purposes of the overall preliminary, we're showing them as one whole easement, but when we get further into the phase 1 approvals, we'll break that out individually.
Understood. That makes perfect sense. That's all.
Okay. Chris, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our guests who've been patiently waiting to address the board. I know we got correspondence in our files from Mr. Foose and Dr. Legro. And I think Mr. Basilius. So we did get your correspondence. I've read it, and I'm sure the board either has or will read it. And if anyone else or those particular people would like to address the board now, this would be the time to do so.
This is Mr. Pitty. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Great, thank you. I also sent correspondence to Kristen Smith. I'm not sure if anyone has read that or not, but my primary concern that I'd like to address this evening is the south or the north border of this property that's adjacent to mine, which can impact my primary use of the property. I purchased my property several years ago to use as recreational hunting land. And this development will severely impact the use of the woods on the south end of my property. The DEC requires 500 feet from the nearest residence for me to legally hunt, unless I have permission from the homeowners to hunt within that boundary. So what I'd like to propose, if possible, is in the HOA that the 5 or 6 homes that are adjacent to my property have some sort of a deed restriction placed on that property, which will, in essence, allow me to have the use of my property for recreational purposes, to include hunting, farming, etc. And that's actually my primary. Anthony knows me, and I'm an avid hunter. That's my primary concern. I have 2 other concerns which are not quite as important to me. One of them is a county easement for sewer, which if there's no HOA deed restriction, basically the town's going to force me to sell the land and develop it because I won't be able to use it for my intended purposes any longer. And then the last concern I have is water mitigation. You guys have talked on and on about this during the whole meeting, so I won't bore you, but the southeastern portion of my property is pretty wet during normal summers. This was the first summer I've experienced since I've owned it that it hasn't been wet, but maybe address any ideas or thoughts that could mitigate the water runoff on that portion of my property as well. But again, my primary concern is the use of my property for recreational purposes, namely hunting.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mitty. Anyone else? I saw you're standing up there.
But it occurred before someone who doesn't have to get up and walk on this bed jumps in.
A familiar face.
Yeah.
Who's up there?
Hi, this is Chuck Fasilius. We're at 3439.
Chuck, someone else is addressed toward it.
Oh, sorry.
Bye, that's right. We're getting our Thanksgiving presents.
Sure. Autograph. Can we get one of those for the record? Thank you. Bye.
For clarification, I am Jack Kellogg. On the upper left corner of the screen.
Yeah, you're two places at once.
Is you're not seeing double. It's my wife at home on my computer. So I'm here in person.
Okay, Jack, remember we have 3 minutes, so.
All right. In your envelope is a bunch of pictures that are dated. They're all written on the backside. There's also a flash drive in your envelope that you can go through and see those pictures. There's also a couple of videos in there from different time frames. And there's also a letter in there to the board that gives a little bit of background and a description of those pictures. Briefly, the town issued a building permit back in 1986 to Arthur Peters. The reason why I know this is I used to live at 3388 Westlake Road, which is the red house in the corner of the southwest corner of Ashton Place and Westlake Road. Mr. Peters went bankrupt, and Paul Hassel came and approached the town. And the idea was, the problem was that the house at 4851 Ashton now was just a shell and was surrounded by water. And for 18 months while the bankruptcy pursued. What happened was that Mr. Hassel then submitted a plan. And the question was raised, okay, the first house in there on the right-hand side, what was the relationship of its first floor compared to the first floor at Ashton Place that does not have a cellar? The answer was, we wish there was 4 feet higher. The new ones will be 4 feet higher. So 4851 Ashton Place is below grade to start with. There's a picture in there showing on a nice day of what it really looks like. But there's a whole bunch of other pictures in there covering the time frames of 2011 and 2017 of water flooding, not just my house, but in the neighborhood in Ashton. And again on 2023, ankle deep water, people walking through above the culvert. You'll see in those pictures above the culvert that goes under Ashton. Then again on that was 17, and then again on ankle deep water in 2023. There's obviously a problem coming down the slopes. On a nice flat screen, it sort of looks, hey, that might be conceivable. But the whole problem is the grades there are 15% or greater. The board received a BME letter back in the spring that the grades are in some places better than 15%. That makes a huge runoff problem. If we create that or add to what is already existing, and some of that is higher than Bedford Drive, we're going to have a problem, a bigger problem. Then again, on July of this year, which is a quiet year as far as water concerned, there was water going into the backyards of people on Westlake Road. South of Ashton and whatnot. It was just coming off the hill. If you take trees out and build homes there and put roads in, how are you going to contain that kind of runoff coming down the hill? You're gonna need a pond bigger than the lake or something. It's, the grades are very steep. My concern is that you cannot use existing facilities. You have water coming in there, and these homes are gonna have to have sprinkler systems according to code. That means you cannot use the existing water supply. That means you're gonna have to have a new water supply coming in order to continue providing water to Upper Bedford and to provide water for the alleged new houses. You can't have existing sewers. You can't ask design from 1988 to accommodate a 158% increase in volume. That's what you're asking for. That's what's being asked of you guys. You can't do it. The first person that's going to be complaining of any kind of thing is going to be the person who lives at 4851 Ashton. Go take a look. Take a ride down Bedford Drive. Take a ride down from Ferris Hills. Take a ride, get a feel for it. Take a look at the flash drive. There's also a couple of videos in there of three short 1 minute videos showing what is really happening today.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, I've got it, Rapio. Keep things moving.
If there's anything that I can do for you folks as far as, details, I've cut out some pictures that I had from last couple of submissions just to make this submission a little bit briefer. So,
Appreciate it.
please do your due diligence and don't mess us up.
Chad, do you have one of those for the applicant? They're entitled to receive a copy and it'll save our staff.
That's what I was gonna say.
Copy of it.
Mr. Chairman?
Please give one to the applicant. Thank you, Jack. Okay. Can I get a? Yeah, Chuck wanted to talk.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna start timing unless you.
Okay, you can time it. Chuck, you have 3 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be much shorter than that. Anyway, I'm Chuck Vasilius. We have the house at 3439 Westlake Boulevard. We're on the lake where the stream drains in, and we've enjoyed some of the biblical rains after we built our house. And there's nothing I can say that Kevin already hasn't said very well, and we have been talking to him. And I just want to thank everybody involved for considering the runoff, and it seems like there's a chance to do something positive here. I'm certainly not anti-development, as I put in my letter, but hopefully everything can be done right. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for waiting us out. Okay, back to the room.
Oh, wow. 40 seconds, guys.
There you go. Don't tack it on his.
I'm to be no.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Your name is, sir?
I am Jim Olbro. I live at 4856 Bedford Drive. And this past summer, I retired from the University of Wisconsin after a 35-year career as a professor of urban planning and landscape architecture. I'm also a licensed landscape architect, and I've worked in various states and including in Europe. And if I was going to give this site plan a grade, if any of my students propose it, would probably be a D plus, maybe a D minus. It's
D
very
or D.
A D.
Oh, D. Oh,
A D. It's not good design. The site is not suitable for development that's being proposed at this scale and this magnitude. Most good subdivision, conservation subdivisions are on sites that have vacant open land and then also conservation resources, whether it's forest or wetland. So the housing can go on the vacant land and the easements can protect the conservation resources. As you know, this site is 100% forested, more or less. So they're proposing a conservation subdivision that is really a conservation subdivision in name only.
It fragments, if you know anything about landscape ecology, and I do, it fragments the forest, which reduces and severely degrades the habitat for wildlife, stormwater, drainage patterns, and lots of other things. This is a poor site for this scale of development. I submitted a letter and I submitted a table, I hope you have it, that has a whole variety of adverse impacts that were, by the way, not very well addressed in this environmental assessment form. It's inaccurate and incomplete, in my opinion, and ethically challenge whoever produced that. I would be ashamed if I was the one to sign that form. So all I would say is that there's an opportunity here. We've heard about drainage districts and landscape-wide, community-wide approaches to managing stormwater. I think that's a great idea. This site could be used not only for stormwater management, it could be used for recreation, it could be used for trails and increase access from the entire area between Butler Road, the city, Middle Cheshire Road, and West Lake Road. That area is very deprived of parks and trails. And I noticed from the 2020 open space plan for the town of Canandaigua, our town is underfunding parks and recreation in comparison to our neighbors. Why is that? Do we not value parks and recreation? That creates right. Thank you.
Jim, thank you for doing the spreadsheet. That was very helpful. I think it covers a lot of the issues you have, right? Am I correct? Everything correct? Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Kaniff, and I live at 4859 Ashton Place. I've lived there for 22 years. First, I want to start by saying thank you for your service to our town, to our community. We all appreciate it. In 2023, floodwaters were coming up through my basement drains. Firefighters stood there with 24 inches, 18 to 24 inches, but the water was actually going into their boots. They were saying, where's this water coming from? It's not coming from the windows. It's not coming, like, where's it coming from? It's coming from the drains. The drains were backed up and outside water was filling my house because all of the houses have French drains in Ashton Place. I had to buy a hot water heater and furnace immediately the next day, $10,000. That was my little nest egg. It's gone. It's been 3 years. I haven't replaced it. I lost $30,000 worth of structural damage. We had to put that into the home 20 years ago. $60,000 now to rebuild. I can't afford it. My basement has drywall cut at 24 inches with all of the insulation pulled out. So I suffered a tremendous loss. Other people have suffered as well. You haven't seen my pictures because I fought with my insurance company for a year and they are not paying for anything. My lawyer said that I should sue the town. I said, what? He said, you guys need to do a class action lawsuit against the town. You publicly addressed the town board in 2017 and said that with all the building and paving, all the new building, the drainage pipes are not big enough. Again, I'm so happy that everybody's addressing the retention ponds. Those are important, but it's not, the retention pond in 2023 during that flood was halfway full. The water's coming up through the drains because the pipes are too small. I mentioned this at a town building or planning meeting in 2017. A lot of building has continued, a lot of paving has continued. So there's nowhere for the water to go. Anyway, the good news is I don't want to sue the town. The town is me and you and all of us, right? This is our community. I suffered a tremendous loss. I have no interest in suing the town, so I will send you all of my pictures and videos. But my lawyer had said, don't send them in yet. I'm not going to sue. I don't want to. I'm not opposed to growth and development. My kids grew up here. They went to school here. I want our town to be a place where people want to move and live. I'm not opposed to growth and development. I am opposed to reckless behavior. And adding 38 houses to that slope, and please, Jack suggested, please come down and drive down Westlake Road, see how narrow it is. there are traffic issues just when we're trying to get around lawn mowing and landscaping companies. Please come down, drive it and see that it looks flat. It is a slope. So please take a look at that. And I would also like to publicly request that the SEQR, that what's called SICR,
Seeker.
that be conducted. Absolutely needs to be conducted as part of the rules of the town. I would also like to request that the town board follow their rules. They were put in place for a reason. And we heard this man stand up here and say, do I have to do this? Do I have to do this? Do I have to do this now? Asking for exception after exception. Those are the concerns. That's my story. I've been asked by my neighbors to present some other questions regarding the expertise and financial ability of the surveying company. I'll get started. I have a backup person.
You
when
got
my
about
time is
30
up.
seconds.
Okay, so there's lots of questions floating around that we believe the town board should be asking the Venezias as well. Has this company ever developed a project of this scale or even smaller? Not just surveyed the land, but actually developed the land for building, built the roads and infrastructure, sold lots to buyers, built houses, and completed the said houses. There's a lot of data that we can present regarding builders. We are concerned that this project may go belly up. What will the neighbors and citizens of Canandaigua will be looking at? We looked at a birdcage, right? The hotel for 10 years that got partially built and wasn't completed. There are 38 lots in this development. Based on the value originally paid for the land, that's about $10,000. Just Googling things, and again, I'm not a builder, costs about $60,000 to upgrade the lots to be sold for building. That makes them worth $70,000, 38 lots, that's $2,660 million. Does the builder have the ability to pay taxes on improved lots while they sit and wait? That is a question the board should be asking.
Stacy, your last name again?
Stephanie.
Oh, Stephanie.
Yep, Stephanie. Last name is Kanef, Kanef. I'm at 4859 Ashton Place, Brick House, bottom of the hill, corner lot.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for your testimony.
You said that your experience, your flooding came from within the basement?
Yeah, so it was in the basement. The house is built with French drains, as many of them are. And so the water from outside, well, not outside. Again, just water flowing downhill would go to the retention ponds, hopefully. It wasn't, it was going down the street. But the drains in the street were actually like geysers. And so the drains were full and the drains were backing up into my house. So the firefighters were like, wait, so where's it coming from?
You have a pipe from your basement floor out to the drainage system?
Yes, that's how the French drains are built, I believe. Again, I'm not an engineer.
No.
Yeah, that was my question too. Eric, are you working as a consultant, as a town planner? Is that your role?
I work for MRB Group, and MRB Group is a town engineer.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, I feel bad for you guys because you're being asked to make really difficult long-term decisions without the benefit of a town planner. Even though we have a great town plan in place, you know, there is concern that you really need a planner.
Thank you.
But a paid consultant is good if you're doing the work of a planner. Thank you, everyone. I will write a letter.
Yeah, send your picture
and
too.
send my picture for sure. Thank you.
Forward to it. Sure, yes.
My name's Linda Corbett. I live at 4855 Ashton Place and we're a charter member. We've been there for 37 years. We call ourselves as charters. We've been there a long time. To follow up, let's see. All right, the infrastructure. You need to ask the question, their ability to build the infrastructure necessary to support 38 new houses off of Westlake Road. It has been suggested to the developer that maybe instead of hooking up to Ashton Place, they could develop the land to connect to Fox Ridge. Fox Ridge is huge development. And the character, let's see, and Fox Ridge also has 2 entrances, and this couldn't be done due to the slope of the land. I'm off here. Wait a minute, let me start on this one. The developer has suggested the size of houses will be similar to Ashton Place, which is approximately 2,500 square feet, which I think they said it's down to
25,000.
square feet. Yeah. The cost in Rochester is 200 to 400 and higher. Let's pick the middle number. Let's use $300 per square foot. And for 2,500 square feet, that would be 750,000 for the house. In addition to all these homes, we'll need sprinkler system, will be the cost to the buyer. In addition, potential buyers may have to pay a fee to hook up to the gas lines, which is coming about. Let's see, I wanted the one with the, oh, and now with the builders, I'm sorry, I'm not used to this. The builders being different builders for each lot. That was back in the 1980s. Builders they lose money. They're not gonna pick one lot to build one house. They want land, they want a development. They're not gonna go and do that. And then not to have the same kind of format of the homes, the colors and things like that. You may buy a home and then next door to you is something totally different that you never would have been here. And again, for resale of that would be something else, but I don't understand where you can develop the lot and then just have different builders go through. Usually the developer has it established, built, and the character there. This does not. This is from the beginning, as I understand it, is that there's no set developer. It is the builder each coming in. And then let's see the true price projected homes. Again, does this surveying company have experience and financial ability to start and finish a project? Is this? My next page is, I'm not a land developer or builder. To the best of my knowledge, neither are any of us really, and neither are they. Thank you. I missed some points, but we'll give you a copy. I have copies for you.
I think we got your drift. Thank you.
What was your house number? What was your house number?
4855.
And time.
That's
pretty impressive.
I didn't cover half the stuff I wanted to.
But you fit it in.
Linda, send it to us.
Oh, I will.
Okay.
I got a thing already. Wait a minute. No.
You're bigger than he is, so you should probably have priority.
I forgot my hearing aids, so I've heard, but not all. I'm Richard Corbett, I'm husband. Anyways.
Same address.
From a financial standpoint of building. In the Great Recession, 50% of all builders nationwide went out of business and have never come back. Because you have to have stability. The nature of building is it goes up and down. The price range they're choosing has plenty of supply. In fact, nationwide, there's now 102,000 built on the projects that haven't sold. And I don't know if they're going to give you a graph that will show you. This is not a business for inexperienced people. The people building here are Rel, Gerber, et cetera, people who have been around for a long time. Because you have to have the financial ability, et cetera, to do it. And I can't see any place where these folks have ever developed a project. And when at 300 a square foot, there's all kinds of properties for sale right now. There's a shortage of housing in Canada and the entire nation. But that's in the entry to mid-level. Well, builders don't build because they can't build one. That's it, unless you have any questions.
No, thank you for your comments.
Good evening. My name is Bob Pease. My wife Nancy and I have lived at 4873 Thetford Drive for the last 25 years. We just happen to be the parcel of land that is the southwest that you've been talking about for 10 or 15 minutes here tonight. I happen to have a little different sketch plan since 2019. We've been following this for 6 or 7 years. That issue was addressed back in 2019 or suggested to be addressed, and that still hasn't happened. So what I've heard tonight is a very nice timeline, provision of videos and pictures, images, history a little bit so that we have a better understanding of where this has been. You've heard some data. We've got Dr. LeBreau, who is very experienced and trained in this particular field, give you a little bit of his insight and concerns the proceeding ahead. And I guess I'm looking at all of this. My biggest concern is why after 6 or 7 years are we talking about exactly the same thing? It's the same concerns, it's the same people, it's the same environmental impact concern. And I'm just wondering if maybe perhaps it's time for the developers of this parcel to look elsewhere so that they can get their needs fulfilled. And we can figure out amongst the town and neighbors and whatnot, what are some of the other possibilities for this parcel. So just some food for thought. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bob. Anyone else? Anyone online? Okay. All right, so almost missed it.
Oh, good, thank you.
Yes.
My name is Dan Russell. I live at 3456 County Road 16. And I could zoom in and talk about how I feel that this project is going to terribly adversely affect my property due to stormwater and the inability for engineering to consider the changing climate from 10-year to 110 and 1,000-year storms. I could zoom in and talk about that, but I want to zoom out and talk about the opportunity and urge you to do due diligence, which means ask the questions like, why? Why is this the 6th time that this has come? What are the real issues and promises of development here? Across the street from me, there's a $21 million home. Pretty soon, there's going to be a house next to me that's not quite that expensive. How does that feel to you in terms of planning? And why, I want to follow up on Professor LeBrun's point. The question he asked is, why aren't we funding planning for public health, good libraries, good public schools, hiking, public swimming areas, kayaking areas? This is the best idea I've heard, that Kevin Mulvaney is wanting to form partnerships. I would ask you to spend less time talking about people who want to earn money off of the land and talk about how public health can be improved, and make partnerships with associations that are concerned about the greater good and not just people who want to make money. And I thank you for doing what you have done. You have your work cut out for you. Do it.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Anyone else? Okay, Ryan, back to you. So you've heard a lot from the board. You've heard from the residents. You've heard a number of concerns. You don't have to address them now. Let's certainly take them under consideration as far as considering a revision to the plan. You said you're probably going to do some buttering up of the plan, but you've heard what the concerns are, and I think they speak well for what the board standpoint as well as what the concerns of the residents are. So we certainly want to try to address those as much as possible. And board have anything else to ask of Ryan? No? Okay, as we talked about at the get-go, we are going to consider a resolution to be the intent to declare lead agency for seeker. And if that's the board's feeling, you have a copy of the resolution. You have a copy of the interested parties as well as the, what they call it,
Interested in involved agencies?
Involved agencies, that's it. If you've looked at that, is there anyone that we have excluded or should include with the lead agencies or the interested parties? I do see we have the Watershed Council. I know there's a great deal of interest from the Watershed Association. If they're not part of the mailing, they should be probably. Okay.
Oh, wait there.
Get the fire company involved, get the school district involved. Get the Park and Recs department. I'm just, giving you the names of the groups that will receive a copy of the seeker type 1 as well as what is being proposed by the applicant. If there's no other additions, somebody give me a resolution to declare the planning board as the lead agency.
I'll make that. For intent to be a lead agency for our seeker here at the Antigua Planning Board for BME Associates for the Dagger Group LLC at County Road 16. That was properly for approval.
Okay, I have a motion and I have a second. Did I get a second? Okay. So this will essentially set a 30-day clock from the day you mail it out. I think it'll probably be tomorrow. Close to it. Anyway, as far as
I think I put the timing for Monday, which I think would be fine, still match up with the planning board's next meeting.
Yeah, because we're not reconvening till January. So as far as an extension on the public hearing regarding the subdivision, that would be to our first January meeting, right?
What is the date?
Okay.
1 second. Somebody asked for the day in that meeting.
That'll be published.
As in that.
It'll be our regular January.
Tuesday, the second Tuesday.
Second Tuesday. So let's take one thing at a time. Let's do the intent to declare lead agency. I have motion second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, let's do the continuation to the January 13th. Yeah. I have a motion to continue the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
Okay, no motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we'll conclude our deliberations for this evening. Thank you everyone for coming out on this lovely night.
Thank you for your
input.
input.
Thank you.
Ryan? I was asked that, so we made a couple of requests for changes on secret in our letter. As long as you don't have any problems with those.
Continuation for the site plans.
I think it's advice.
In theory it would be,
Phase 1.
but we're not doing anything with the final until we do the preliminary option. So they'll run concurrent.
No.
Okay. Continue with our board business. We have a request from Marathon Engineering. Folks, could you take your discussion outside, please?
Can we have conversation out in the hall?
Thank you.
Sorry to raise my voice on that.
Thanks for coming out, everyone.
Thank you.
11.
Okay, we have a request for a site plan extension approval for Parkside Drive. This is the first. It's the second. Oh, first, yeah.
Nope, I think it's just the first for Uptown Landing, final section 1.
What seems to be your hang up, Jake?
So we are still working on the electrical offsite improvements and whatnot, and working with RG&E, and between us and the developer and RG&E, we're trying to get the solution that benefits everyone. so that's kind of where we're at on that end. And then engineering wise, we're just about to send out some final comment letters and get the final sign offs from all the outside agencies. And I know, Eric, I had sent you an email probably a month or so ago. Once we start kicking back into those outside agencies and we get some sign offs there, I'll be sure to send you updated plans, and then we'll get going on your end as well.
Okay, very good. So you think you can do it 90 days? By February 23rd?
We're gonna try. We're gonna try.
All right.
Because then
That's
I
what I
think
wanna
there's an option for a second extension as well, correct? Or
We would consider it, but we hope we don't have to give it. Good luck to you, though.
yeah, believe me, we also hope to.
All right.
Well, and one thing Jake and Jeff didn't say, and I think you all know, but this is beyond circumstances beyond their control.
Especially when
It's been
you're
this board's
you're
practice,
electric.
you know, not to require repeated applications for site plan review when it's a situation like this. So there are extensions that can be granted. Just to prep the record for that if need be.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris, this is Jeff Cook. What's the longest extension we can get at this point?
90 days at a time.
Okay,
Twice.
okay.
Yeah, we used, our policy, Jeff, is, we would grant no more than 2 90-day extensions. Then it's getting a little stretched out.
Well,
All right, so I need a, motion? No. you need a
So
motion.
moved.
Okay, got it now. And a second.
It's a nice song.
And a second. And I had a second.
Yes.
Oh,
Mark.
okay.
Yep.
Motion second to grant the first 90-day extension. The date is February 23rd, 2026. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, we're back to the form-based.
Great. Thank you guys. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thanks for hanging on.
No problem.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we're you folks asked to continue the discussion of the FBC to this evening. You have anything specific you'd like to discuss or interject regarding the revisions?
Chuck, I'd just like to take the time to go through it again, and I think the staff did a great job capturing the issues that we've run into before. It feels it feels like we'll still get requests and adjustments based on whatever might decide to go there, and it's super limited to what space is left to actually do something, from what I can tell. But I think it's a great step in the right direction to try to help developers complete that. Get that activity going. So thank you for doing that.
You know, I asked the question and I had to go look for myself. But I took the map and I hatched out the properties that are already developed. And with Uptown Landing is approved to go, there's not a lot of land in that district that's undeveloped. So just
I think it does give us a good precedence that that expands. Because we're struggling to obviously do things with the industrial area. We keep putting housing developments in there.
No,
So
you know,
might expand out that direction, something like that.
I hear the comments of the ECB, but I think what's already there is there. How we might be able to enhance it is probably a different discussion. Not necessarily address that through zoning.
Well,
unless someone's gonna come in and tear down everything that's there and
Or tear down.
redevelop it in a manner that was consistent with form-based code.
No,
Could happen with the car dealership.
I was gonna say the process of selling cars is changing.
What happens is you sell one car dealership, you tear down one car dealership, then you've got a 3-story building at Route 332 and surrounded by 2 car dealerships. It looks ridiculous. It's, you gotta tear down everything in the district to make this effective.
The only way that's gonna happen is if magically 332 turns into Canandaigua Lake. Then you're tearing everything down. And I'm
With these 100-year storm events.
The lake gets that high, you're.
Keep becoming. Ask Kevin Mulvaney.
I mean, I think that the modifications help some of the existing businesses expand and thrive. With still, keeping some of the form-based code ideas.
Yeah, only watered down a little bit, yeah.
Endorse the watering down. But I think Tim hit the nail on the head, Kristen, for a report to the town board. Wanted to quote that, right?
Just real quick update on the process, if I can, for everyone.
Sure. Give me an update.
So John Casey, who chairs the ordinance committee, is no longer going to hold a December meeting due to the changes that are happening on the town board. So this is being pushed off another probably month, I would imagine. So far we have gotten comments from every other referral. They're all kind of in the same boat. So appreciate you guys' comments as far as the memo. The other big change that you will see with the final document, very thankful for our town attorney. We're going to take it out of the current format as a separate book that's, in my opinion, way too pretty to be code. And we're going to reformat that to look exactly like the rest of our town code.
And we're gonna put it in
directly instead of being in town code as an attachment, similarly with the site design criteria and everything else.
Thanks.
All right.
Do you think that?
And while we're doing that,
Sounds
we can go back to
ambitious.
ECB and get a nice.
What's that?
Well, if there's a significant change in the makeup of the town board, catching up with what this is all about, will take more than annually, right?
So the structural change, I'm halfway done with, and I think I'm confident in my ability and Mike's ability to convey that to the town board. I mean, I think even if you were gonna leave form-based code, make no changes, I think you have to change the structure. It's too hard to figure out in its current structure.
Yeah.
So that's I hope they take our word for it, and no, I think it's a good place to delve into it, but you do raise a good point. It may be the modifications may be a little bit much for a January meeting, but we've dealt with it this long, and we're making more progress in this area than we have in years. So
yeah,
maybe it's longer. I think you raise a good point.
Yeah, at least get their onboard them. What it is. And see if-
Surprise, here's 90 pages of
Yeah.
code.
Yeah. Trust me, I want to get this off my desk. It's been, as Kristen, Eric, Chris, and Kim all know, it's been on my desk for the better part of 6 months with this rewrite. And we have about 50 some odd other changes that need to happen with the code. So it'd be great. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Okay, moving on to the minutes from the November 12th meeting, which Bob was not here, so we'll come the four of us that condone it.
I'll make the motion.
You got that motion? All right.
I'll second.
That motion second. All in favor? Aye.
Can I make a comment on the council?
No.
Oh, I should have asked any comments. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Normally I do and nobody has comments.
I
One
did,
time
I
didn't.
read them and mainly concerned about the Airbnb off of Middle Cheshire and the fire incidences and the trespassing. I remember when we talked to that owner, we talked that they had to stay on the property. And it seemed like the discussion was more about the fire and not about the trespassing.
Well, so
there was nothing after we wrote those conditions that it really got to the point where Mike could really enforce it.
Well, we specifically asked the question of if they had issues and if the town had sufficient resources to deal with the issues. And the response that we got was yes.
Not the question. Question is, it just seemed like there was more emphasis on the fire and not about trespassing. And
Trespassing is not one issue.
Yeah, we discussed it with the property. Do they have rules?
They did have rules.
Yes. And this is part of the process that every place has to have administrative control.
You're down to the choir.
Yeah. Okay.
But there was a complaint that happened, right? Did you see that complaint?
Yeah, I'm gonna get back off the podium. I gotta be selective with my wording here.
Sure.
So I sent out a comment related to that application. I believe we're talking about the same one up on top of the hill in Milchester Road, correct? We received 3 complaints. All of them were unfounded to be violations of the SUP and or town municipal code or New York State Uniform Fire Code and energy conservation.
That's exactly what I was talking about, is the fact that you couldn't put it against the code or the SUP.
And that's trespass is it's a law enforcement civil issue. It's not a New York State code. The fires, to be brutally honest with you, unless a fire is more than 5 feet in diameter or 5 feet in height,
It's DEC.
it's DEC, and there was no burn ban
Yeah,
at the
I
time,
think,
so
honestly,
we didn't
think
refer
the
it.
fire was a problem. Really.
Yeah.
Question,
Yep.
were those 3 different, did those complaints come from the same person or were they 3 separate?
Can I answer that?
I don't know the answer to that. I think it was,
I'll
it's
say
the same person or persons.
Well, you know,
the
one-
same team.
Everything
I
used
just-
to be that we have 2
You know,
neighbors that don't get along.
So
And what we were doing is we were being set up to make a deviation to a practice that we have in place already to give preferential treatment to a complaint.
Oh, no.
And I mean, that seemed relatively clear to me. I'm not getting sued at this point in time. So I'm not in favor of changing our practices for an individual complainant that doesn't demonstrate that there's something else that was wrong. So that was my point in looking at it and saying, look, if we're not complaining, Mike knows that I give him full liberty to reach out to me if he needs it to slow something down. And I think Lovell Road's a good example of something where we do that if we know it's happening, but that's not what seemed like was happening in this case.
Okay. I just wanted to have a conversation about it.
And I appreciate that. I'm not,
Have you read the minutes of the
I read
zoning
them.
board? No,
it's
zoning.
the minutes don't
I
always
read my
capture it. I mean, that's why I
Now,
used to like.
solar.
Oh, I
Same
read it,
person.
yeah.
And the zoning board didn't find that what was being claimed was actually an issue. So,
That's a whole
Okay,
different issue.
we got a
yes.
set of minutes.
you know, those same lines. This project that we had on Sandy Beach that had violations. Is there anything in the law that says we have to accept an application for a property that is in current violation?
So I didn't bring it up because it wasn't. It sounded like the board was comfortable with it as it was, but I think there's something in the law that says you have to make a finding that it isn't, but I'm not sure of that off the top of my head. I look at our site plan, right?
When I've looked at these in the past, once it gets within the limitations of what we're using from code, it feels like we can't do anything other than state that it's not in the character of the neighborhood.
Right.
I mean, that seems to be the only, if it's not a life safety or a water issue or something else, it's not in the character of the neighborhood. And whether I like it or not, I mean, that still ends up in the character of the neighborhood because it meets those dimensional setbacks.
Yep.
I think it was clear that I also didn't like approving that one tonight because of the previous experiences that we've had there. So, yeah, I do think about trying to tighten some of the stuff up that we.
Well, if you could look, because.
There's nothing that says you have to, there's nothing that says
Well,
you can't.
So speak up and say, I'm not comfortable approving it with violations.
Well, is there?
But
I
they're
want to
correcting
stop it at the application process. I don't even want it to get it. If there's a violation on the property, why are we even accepting the application? Don't put the board in this position, please, if we don't have to.
Well, but Anthony was quick enough to accept the fact that he got his homeowner to correct the violations. We talked about the flagpole. The flagpole is not a thing.
Was it? I didn't know that was actually resolved.
Well,
I was gonna.
I don't know.
When we talked about it at
That's
the
why-
last meeting, we said it wasn't a thing. It's not a structure. It's not.
Oh,
Yeah. Chris.
What
either
about-
way, so
What about the boat lift? Structure. Was that been under permit?
Docking and moorings.
The docking more.
The boat station,
Yeah,
I have to look to be 100%, but yes, it was.
So I guess the way I think about it, from a legal standpoint, you have the right to say I'm not comfortable because there's violations here. That being said, a flagpole, let's say it was a violation, that's, 100 yards away from the site plan, the proposed limits of disturbance. Not that that's, but as an example, not really relevant to the site. You're the planning board and your purview is site plan. Murphy's the code enforcement officer. If there's violations, he should be dealing with them. In general, the town of Canandaigua wants to gain compliance. If he's got outstanding violations, he should be going through the process and if the property owner isn't cooperating, I guess I think you would say to your planning board, please hold this guy up because he's not cooperating.
Yeah.
We've had that where the planning board said, we're not gonna deal with you until you fix what Murphy says is wrong.
We get applications that are remedied.
Yeah, some of them are, and
Yeah,
that's,
I mean,
that's a good point.
We're taking in knowing that there's a violation, but the reason for the application is to remedy the violation.
So I think that
Rather than taking the guy to court and throw him in the Hooskow.
well, but we heard it from the neighbor about the violation.
But I don't have any. I don't know that there was a violation. I know that this guy said there was a violation.
Well.
So
It's how I think. It's code enforcement's the one to, I don't get to make the decision whether it's a violation. Neither do you. It's the code enforcement that has to do that.
But I think we're talking about two topics here. One is we get from the minutes that tied to Middle Cheshire. Something that I used to always do when missing these meetings is go listen to the actual meeting. You do an awesome job of recording, but you can't capture all of the discussion and the tone of what happens. So if there's a way to make sure that we always get those meetings, that would be amazing. I don't know if that's even a reasonable, but that we get the recordings.
Out now.
Is that what it is? Okay. I haven't beat this one.
Mark too, there's another plan that John has to transition all of these boards to the same software that the town board uses, where it would be an instantaneous posting onto that software called
The second thing is I hope that all town staff realize that if there's something that somebody's doing that doesn't make your job easier, myself included, is send a note that gives us a flag, and I'm happy to. I'm not trying to slow down development. I'm happy to support anything that we need to do to make sure that we're getting what we expected out of it. And I'll just use Mobile Road as an example. Even asking Anthony tonight, towards the end of his conversation, I wanted to hear him say, yes, they're intending to continue on with this, because everything sounded like once they got 8 done, they were willing to, or 7 done, they were willing to give up 8 and forget about ever doing that road. Right? So then he said, we intend to.
Maybe
back in
case.
January. At least I made him say it.
Right. All right, back to the minutes. We have a motion and a second.
It's good
memory.
Yeah.
We gotta approve it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's the longest we discussed the minutes.
Appreciate that.
And it was the one time I didn't ask for any additions or corrections. Okay, we get some money to give away, folks.
You can do them in a block if you want. How to address each of them, that's fine.
I will yield to Mr. Tolbert.
get to be that guy again.
Again, but still.
You want to still?
A lot of zero. I'm happy to, hey, well, hold on, let me pull them up. Just make sure that I'm not looking at anything.
Yes. Same thing, okay. So we have the record, Mr. Venetia for his property on Lake Breeze Way. We have ENS for Analog Properties, Westlake Boulevard.
Chuck, do we have town employee approval on that? We've met the conditions on all of those.
I'm looking at the, hopefully they wouldn't have been given to us unless they did.
Yeah, that's what.
Just to make sure.
Just asking the question.
I'm seeing code, I'm seeing Fletcher. I'm seeing MRB.
Get them all.
And Fletcher and Murphy. So they all are signed except for us.
Does anybody know the total amount?
I don't think you have to say that.
You don't need to say the number?
If you don't want to.
So I'm happy to put the motion forward to approve the release of all of the sureties as they have been verified by the staff of the town of Canandaigua in a bundled motion.
Second.
Okay. The motion second. Well, for discussion, if not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Come a long way, Chuck.
I'm giving out money. I'll give out the $220. That's. Mark, you can do the 800. The 93,000, okay.
All right. I'll sign that check.
All righty, I think we're ready to wrap it up here, folks. That's it. Any other business? Any other discussion?
You know, we heard a lot about the flooding, over the course of time, and in specific, in 2023, when we had the event that flooded Sucker Brook, we received approximately 6 inches of rainfall in 3 hours. Okay, we designed our infrastructure for a 10-year storm, and the 10-year storm is about 3.2 or so inches over a 24-hour period, which is about 0.4 inches in that same 3-hour period. So when you hear people talk about the stormwater systems not being able to handle it, it's for obvious reasons. And something called hydraulic jump is when the water geysers out of catch basins that are at a lower elevation than the uphill ones. So it's going to be interesting to see the stormwater evaluation of how they're going to contain the 100-year storm volume of water. So it routes through the stormwater management facility. And that was in the code. And I saw you guys picked up on that and put those comments in.
The code says you have to design for 100 years.
You have to route the 100-year storm.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Through the stormwater management. Yes.
What are 100-year storms of?
You try and
Put me on the spot.
less than 10-year storms, though, right?
Well, the 500-year storm was that 6 inches, whatever that calculated out, or
24.
over 24.
Your 100 years around, I think it's 4 inches.
But how often are they happening?
I would call it flood data. We are seeing on average about 400 to 500 storms a year. An initiative the town is going to do with the Watershed Council is next year within the past budget to purchase 4 mobile range measuring devices that'll be off the grid, fully self-sustaining. Yeah, we're gonna be positioning those throughout the town.
You mean a measuring book?
Pretty.
No,
Big fire.
yeah, flow.
Yeah.
Flow meters.
Go to Wayfair and buy one.
I can, let me know when that RFP goes out for bid. I'll,
Yeah. $1,000 meter jug, right?
I can note them.
Yeah. But yeah, Kevin's been spending a lot of time on this, so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting together with him and you and Fletcher and talking about how we get the engineers to address the extreme storms and what I call it is rainfall intensity has changed.
Yeah,
We're not getting 24-hour storms.
Not to go down the rabbit hole, but I know you and I talked for the betterment of the board. Get up there because Dan's on there. And I'll have Dan to hear this. So NOAA was supposed to come out with Atlas 14. Atlas 14 is the rainfall where we get those 100-year, 10-year, 500-year storms. That was supposed to come out about a year ago. That's federal. That basically they did 2 states. They're not effective yet. That's now since been defunded. So the rain charts that we're using are from, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So 100-year storm in the 80s is a lot different than a 100-year storm and what we're seeing now. The other big thing, I gotta put the plug in there, is the push to just say a 1% or 0.2% storm, as opposed to a 100-year or 500-year. Reason being is because if I say 100-year, you tell me your house flooded last year, you're good for 99 years. But you still have that recurring percentage risk. So. Yep.
Hey, Mike, I put some code together for this. I'd like you to look at. These guys have seen it. I just wanna.
Yeah, one of the big things that we're looking towards is after this form-based code is going through and rewriting our chapter 130, which is our stormwater management.
I've got a pretty good chapter, I think.
We're looking to change a lot. So whatever you've got is helpful. We're looking at Skinny Atlas, Webster, and another municipality I'm blanking on right now out in Onondaga County as references.
Yeah, I'll send them.
So send me what you got, especially because that's going to filter in with the site design criteria that we're hoping to get started here shortly.
Exactly. That's one.
All right.
Yeah, I would be remiss in not introducing our new Director of Development who's been online.
He's
the whole evening. Dan, welcome. And thanks for sitting in. Hope we didn't scare you off.
Nope, you didn't scare me off. I enjoyed the meeting tonight. A lot of good information, and I concur with what Mike's been talking about. A lot of good things are coming, but I agree with stormwater. We do need to look at it at a different avenue, and I'm excited to take that challenge on. So any information from this board would be very much appreciated.
Good. Very good. Thanks. Have a good Thanksgiving, Dan. All right, I'll entertain a motion. Motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Done.
I would, just from an IT perspective, I'd recommend nobody put any of these in their computers, just in general.
Oh,
True.
You think they're trying to embarrass you?
Yeah.
Number 1 rule in IT